All right. What's up, Turtle Riders? Welcome to Uncle Turtle Boy's Late Night Garage Podcast. This episode's brought to you by our good friends over at Beard Justice LLC. You can find them online at beardjusticellc.com. All right, my man Cedric, he's got a nice little entrepreneurial startup business going on there. For all you bearded men and or women, I don't want to be transphobic. I know some of you ladies have beards now, and that's bold, beautiful, and brave. I think that's fantastic. But you don't want to have a beard and smell like shit. All right. Chicks do dig the beard. Ted Cruz is living proof of that. All right. There's a lot of guys out there that have shown that over time. I'm not personally a beard guy. All right. But if I was, I would definitely be a Beard Justice LLC guy. Because Cedric's got a whole bunch of awesome shit, different products to make you coming out smelling fresh, clean, manicured, all right? But not like French, like good in like an American way, and you're going to like it, all right? So definitely check them online. Promo code TurtleBoy for 15% off purchases of 25% or more. All right, so without further ado, I'd also like to remind you guys, too, we're being sued right now by 4 people. Right. And we could really use contributions whenever possible. I know a lot of you guys watching this, listening to this, have already donated. That's great. Not asking you to do it again or anything like that. Just throwing it out there. If people are interested, to let you know, we'd like to keep this show going. I've kind of been over the lawsuits and everything. The other 10 defendants, so of the 4 lawsuits, right, on one of them, I signed an agreement not to talk about said lawsuit, right? So I'm not going to talk about my involvement in a lawsuit, but you all know which lawsuit has 10 other defendants, right, including people who commented on the blog, right? Because that kind of affects you all, right? If you comment on one of our blogs on Facebook, you get sued too. Just ask a couple people, all women, by the way. They were all served today. So it's now me and 10 other chicks fighting for free speech rights over there in that lawsuit. We also have the Azadney one going on next week. I hired a lawyer for that, right? Because Margaret can't do it anymore. She's like, it's out of her element this type of law she's not really practiced before with all the internet shit. And we're going against George Leontire, and the guy has unlimited resources. So I did hire an attorney for that. Paid a $5,000 retainer, and that's what I mean here. I mean, that came directly. I just used the PayPal, right? When you guys donate to that, I just, boom, goes right to lawyers, right? So basically what you're paying for is for free speech to continue, right? Like you're literally paying the legal bills because we don't make enough money to be able to, I'm not gonna lie, to fight all these lawsuits, right? Until we get, obviously, Victoria knows. I see Victoria in the comments today. Ask her. She got served today. Sorry if I wasn't supposed to say that, Victoria, but she got served today, so she understands what it's like. Also so the Ryan Waters one, still waiting on that. The judge is reading it over. I expect that to be hopefully dismissed because that's the weakest of the 4. And then there's Failure Swift. And good news on that one. right? I'm not going to like blog about this or anything, but I'll tell you because we're friends on here. The ACLU of Rhode Island has taken that one, which is like, they called me yesterday and I was so excited because I've long been a proponent of the ACLU. I understand the ACLU has had questionable, some things in the past. I don't always agree with the ACLU, right? And I've been critical of them in the past, particularly not because, I don't mind when they stand up for, like, City of Worcester had a panhandling ordinance and the ACLU sued the City of Worcester. I don't mind when the ACLU does that because that's what the ACLU does, right? They fight for free speech. My issues with them have been kind of like, there's been some times where the ACLU is like, they've been using words like hate speech and stuff like that on a national level. And I just believe in free speech. And as long as the ACLU is fighting for free speech, I got their back. And that is what they're helping me out with in this situation. So we will be getting more into that. I'm very, very excited. Very happy with the ACLU. My faith in them is completely restored. It stands, Jenny, for the American Civil Liberties Union. All right. And the civil liberties, obviously, the most important civil liberty we have is free speech, right? Without that, we have literally nothing. There's no democracy without free speech. Without the ability for us to discuss ideas, however controversial they are, we can't get anywhere. Like the whole idea of American independence, right? Like that was outlawed. Like the discussions that they had in Philadelphia in 1775 and 1776, like that was illegal. And it was because they said, no, we should be able to discuss things, So that's why we fight. I do it to honor the founding fathers because they sacrificed their lives for this. They put their lives on the line in order for us to be able to do this. So I thank you for that. So I appreciate any and all donations. I'm sorry the Bruins couldn't pull it through last night. I did 3 on Facebook on Clarence Woods Emerson. Yesterday I did 3 press conferences on that. It would have been nice if we won because I could sell more t-shirts, hopefully, but it's hard to sell God Loves Us more t-shirts when we lost, right? But at the same time, you see that little girl from St. Louis, you're happy for her. It is what it is. We'll be back next year. So anyway, I want to talk about some other things today, all right? So let's see what people are saying here. What the heck is going on here? All right, yeah. I'm going to try to follow along in the comments. It still hurts to talk about. I know. It definitely, watching all the highlights today, it's like, it sucks, man. It sucks. You see those guys in the locker room, they're all sad and shit. I mean, they might not ever get back there. It's like, at least with the Patriots, we're going to be back. If we don't win the Super Bowl, we'll be back next year. We will be in the AFC Championship game. I mean, the team that gives us the least amount of stress in this town is the Boston Red Sox. Like, let's be honest. Thank God for the Red Sox. Either they suck and they finish in last place, or they make the World Series and then they win easily. They don't put us through any stress. Since 2004, that was like the last year they put us in a stressful situation, right? When we beat the Yankees in 7 games, we were down 3-0 and came back, obviously. It's been stress-free since then, right? Like 2004, sweep of the Cardinals in the World Series. 2007, that was a sweep too, right? 2013, 4-2. Ooh, so scared, right? And then you throw in there the complete abortion years, the Bobby Valentine year, right? All the fuck-ups, right? The complete collapse at the end of Terry's year. The 3 straight years, I think, was it 2 or 3 straight years with John Farrell not even finishing in last place in the division. That's what I like about the Red Sox. We either finish in dead last or we win easily. No sweat. I wish they could all be so kind. But obviously, the Celtics are in a different situation because it's like, it's the worst league. You got all these personalities, all these douchebags trying to manage them, and the refs, it's tough, man. So the Bruins, long story short, we might not see them back in the Stanley Cup. They could be back next year. They'll be a great team, but it's hockey. It's puck luck, man. You never know what's going to happen. So anyway, yeah, they were down. That's true. 3-1 to the Indians in the ALC West. They came back and they won, though. They won. All right, so let's talk about what this situation that happened in Beverly today that really got me fired up. So while I was watching the game last night, guys, a bunch of people were tagging me in these posts, right? And they sent it to us, and they're like, there's this post going viral out of Beverly at some restaurant called Bonefish Harry's. Bonefish. Okay. And it's owned by some guy named Henry Paraso, and it opened in January of last year. Now, I don't know this restaurant, right? I don't know if Greg Bates tried to extort them. That's obviously like the first thing you think of. You're like, a restaurant in Beverly? How much did Greg Bates shake them down for? Like, who didn't think of that when they first saw this? Like, I wonder what Greg Bates is. I wonder what team Greg Bates is on. If you're not familiar with Greg Bates, go back and read the 7-part series we did on him, right? That guy is like the king, and he's still doing his thing up there. Good for him, I guess. He's the ultimate scam artist. He shakes down all of these businesses to advertise, quote unquote, on his, Facebook page with 35,000 cult followers. And if they don't, then he slams you, basically. That's the long and short of it. But you have to wonder, since this guy opened up in January 2018, Greg Bates was knocking on his door, right? It had to be. And I wonder, I've never seen or heard of this guy advertising on there, but whatever. So anyway, I digress. On June 8th, he posts on the Bonefish Facebook page a picture of the pride flag hanging outside of their business, which is bold, brave, and beautiful. Let's just get that out there. That's fantastic, right? Love homosexuality. Big fan. And yesterday they post that, right? The other day they post that. And then they get this letter that was written on January 9th, or June 9th, the next day, and postmarked on June 10th. They get it, and they, you got to read about, I agree. You got to read about this, Victoria. You got to read about Greg Bates. So they post this letter that they allegedly get on their page. And I'm getting tagged in this a lot, and I don't have time to read it because I'm watching the Bruins, having a great time. Well, not a great time, but having a time. So I didn't have time to do my normal amount of research into this, but I'll read it to you real quick. A lot of you have read this, I assume. So here's what it says. To all of our loyal guests today, we received this letter declaring our restaurant immoral for hanging a gay pride flag from our restaurant in support of our fellow humans for Gay Pride Month. We consider this letter an attempt to bully us, to remove our flag, and to slander our business. So stop right there. How is one guy writing you a private letter bullying? That's what I mean when I say that bullying is the most overused word in the English language. Bullying? A guy wrote you a letter privately. How on earth are you bullied because of that? Explain that one to me. And slander our business, there's another overused word. First of all, libel to your business. They wrote it down, it's libel, not slander. Second of all, it's not a lie, so it's not any type of defamation whatsoever. Neither libel nor slander. And all they did, I don't agree with the letter, but it's one guy ranting about why he's not coming there anymore. And we'll read that in a moment. We will not stand for this type of behavior, and we'll never give in to these types of unaccepted, bigoted people. So that right there is what we call virtue signaling. All right? People letting the world know, look at me. I'm one of the good ones, right? I don't like bigots. I'm really good. Clap for me, please. Jeb Bush, clap. We will always stand side by side with everyone in our community. We will continue to fly this flag, and we are proud to show our support for all of our community members. And then they tag Beverly Main Street's Beverly Food and Drink. So they want people to see this. Now, the letter itself reads as follows. I'll read part of it, right? You get the point. Since you opened, my wife and I have enjoyed several meals at Fishbone Harry's. So right away, they get it wrong. Interesting. It goes to this place all the time, doesn't know the name of it. We've received gift cards for other meals and have had meals there with some of our children and grandchildren. So it's allegedly an old guy here. Imagine our disappointment when we saw a rainbow flag hanging outside your restaurant. It means simply that we will not be patronizing your eating place again. because you have chosen to publicly support activity which is immoral against the good for human activity. Can't say I agree with that, because it is what I don't think homosexuality is immoral. I'm not going to lecture anybody about that. Certainly don't think it's bad for humanity. I mean, homosexuality is the best thing that could ever happen to your neighborhood. That's just an undisputed scientific fact. Name me one gay ghetto in America. You can't, right? You know what the biggest problem with having gay neighbors is? Freshly manicured lawns. Nice rose, nice gardens. That's the biggest problem you're going to have if gay people move next door to you, right? Socioeconomically, they do better than Asians. So, I wouldn't worry too much about that. So anyway, he goes on to say, why not keep your opinions on political issues to yourself? That, to me, is a fair point. Like, let's be honest, right? Waving the pride flag, which is bold, brave, and beautiful, you're kind of, I don't know if it's really a political stance you're taking, but it's definitely like saying, like, I lean left, right? I think that we can all agree that you're not going to see that at Chick-fil-A, are you? And that's fine. That's fine. I have no problem with what Chick-fil-A does. And if you want to fly the pride flag, that's great. I'm not going to stop going. If you have good food there, I'm not going to stop eating there because you have a pride flag outside. It doesn't offend me at all, right? He goes on to say, you have no Christian flag. I don't think there is a Christian flag. No Italian flag. Why would we have Italian flag? It's not Italian Pride Month. You have no Beverly High School banner to suggest pride in these groups. Well, you can't have every flag, dude. Does this mean you're against Christians, Italian Americans, or high school students? No, I'm just choosing to flat out. In the absence of flags or political statements, our only concern is whether your food offerings were good for the price. Last time we visited, they were. So keep going. Big deal. But now you've made a political moral statement supporting sexual behavior that half of America declares immoral. Okay, time out right there. That's what kind of leads me to believe that statement right there, that this is not real. I don't think anybody out there believes that half of this country believes homosexuality is immoral. Like, it should be against the law or something like that. Like, nobody believes that. Like, 15 years ago, certainly. Absolutely. But I've never seen a political issue in my lifetime change so drastically when it comes to public opinion more than acceptance of homosexuality, right? 15 years ago, 20 years ago, most people were against homosexuality. That's just a fact, right? Especially gay marriage. Even liberals like Obama and Hillary were on record opposing gay marriage because that's just how the times were. This flipped when Macklemore won the Grammy. I'm telling you, when Macklemore won a Grammy, everything changed. And all of a sudden now, it became cool, right, to be in favor of gay marriage, which is bold, brave, and beautiful. So they come out there and they're like, to say that, like, most people, I don't believe that. That to me sounds like somebody who wrote this letter and wants to make it seem the 50-50 thing as well. 50% of the country is Republican, 50% is Democrat. It makes it seem like it's like dividing it up between us and them. That's the way this was intentionally written. That's what I take out of it. So anyway, it goes on to say, why would you purposely choose from a business perspective to possibly alienate half of your potential customers? Why have you chosen to declare your morality on this question alone? I see no evidence of month of June issues that you are celebrating. Why would you ignore Father's Day or African American Music Appreciation Month? Is it really? I did not know that. The issue of homosexual behavior has been considered by thoughtful people since nearly the beginning of time. The vote of history has always been clearly against the behavior. Human biology renders it absurd. Are you thinking that you have found a new virtue? ? My hope is that you'll give more thought to this question and take down your flag. Perhaps then we will consider whether we'll go back there, blah, 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 blah. So, all right, so I don't believe it's real. I don't believe somebody actually wrote that. But even if they did, what's so bad about it? Like, how is that bullying? It's like respectfully written. You know what I mean? Allegedly it's from a Christian conservative old school dude, a grandfather, who isn't down with butt sex. That's it. Or scissoring. So let him feel that way. It's not like he's saying, I'm going to tell everyone not to go there, or I'm going to smear you guys. It's just like literally a private conversation. He's telling them, look I like your food, but I'm not down with the gay sex. Can't do it. But if you take the flag down, I'm going to be back. Okay. So there's a lot about this that seems shady. It's signed cordially, Owen Donaldson, Beverly, Mass. So that's interesting. So I would just like to remind everyone that the Jussie Smollett thing, before he was jumped by two, MAGA hat supporters who ended up being Nigerian brothers that he paid off. Before that happened, he got a letter in the mail first that called him fag and stuff like that. And as a result of this, he didn't get enough attention. And that's why he did the whole made up, I got jumped and shit like that. But everybody who saw the letter at first fell for it. Nobody questioned it. And what the Jussie Smollett thing should have taught us is what Turtle Riders have known for a while. We've been on fake hate crimes for quite some time now. Is that you can't just blindly believe everything that you see on the internet. That's the whole point here. But yet people do. Nobody learned their lesson from that. Because the response to this was overwhelming. I'm not saying that some homophobe didn't write this letter. That's within the realm of possibility. I think it's unlikely, but it could happen. But what nobody knows is that it definitely did happen. But nevertheless, all these people are posting, stop by Bonefish Harry's to show them some pride love. I've never been there before, but I will be now. I think that if anything, this just elevated your business, not slandered. Yeah, no shit. That's literally the whole point, dumbass. Keep doing what you're doing. You're obviously loved. It just goes on and on and on like this. On and on and on. Now, this has been shared now over 5,000 times on Facebook and commented on thousands more times, liked, I think, over 15,000 times. When that happens, everybody on your roster sees it. This probably reached over 1 million people by now. Do you know how much it costs to reach 1 million potential new customers? A lot of money. That's what a marketing company would charge. This guy got it, the owner of this got it for free by posting a picture of a letter. Immediately, I'm suspicious of that. Not because I don't believe in that somebody's capable of writing a letter like this, but because I follow the money. You should always follow the money. If somebody's making a lot of money off of something, you should be suspicious of that, especially in this short amount of time, capitalizing on something like this. I would like to remind you that he posted this on June 12th, the 3-year anniversary of the Pulse Massacre nightclub shooting. So very, very, very interesting that they would do this. So anyway, even if this was real, right? And let's say they did this. Like I said, it's respectfully written. But even if it was a real guy's name, and there is no Owen Donaldson, by the way. We looked him up. It's a fake name. And I'll get to suspicions about that in a moment. But even if he used his real name, I still, like when I was watching the game last night, I thought it was a real name. I'm like, that's kind of fucked up to use his name, right? The guy sent you a letter in confidence, and you're going to put him on blast like that? That seems irresponsible for a business to do, especially since the guy's from Beverly, and this restaurant's in Beverly, and Beverly's not the biggest place in the world. People could find out who he is, go to his house. You never know. A lot of people read it, man. A lot of people saw it, and there's some crazy people out there. And it just seems somewhat irresponsible for a business to do this, to use their business page to generate outrage towards one person. Now, granted, people will say, oh, Turtle Boy, you're a hypocrite. You do it at the same time. Yes, we do. We do, because that's what we do, right? That's literally our whole business model, is publicly shaming people. The business model of Bonefish Harry's is making seafood. See the difference? They're not supposed to be in the business of public shaming. We are. There's a huge, if they want to be in a public shaming business, go start a blog, right? Go start your own Turtle Boy. If you want to make seafood, then shut up and make seafood. So I thought that was kind of inappropriate. So I'd also like to point out too, that a lot of people are saying, well, you know, some people in the comments, right? Like SJ Trippy made Turtle Boy for a good reason, because they pointed out, they said, I don't agree with the letter. However, I also don't agree with you publishing it to a wide audience with the sender's name visible either. That's a very fair point. It gets 102 replies. Almost all of them are negative, right? He gets a bunch of laughing emojis against him. The first comment, if Mr. Donaldson's going to be a hateful bigot, then he deserves the backlash. He obviously knew what he was doing when he sent the letter. Did he, though? Did he? He wasn't expecting them to put this up there, if he's even real. This is the type of person that disowns their child. Screw him. Man, what happened to love Trump's hate, people? These people are so angry, right? Social justice warriors are so angry. They always want to, they want to destroy you, right? If you don't subscribe to their worldview, and I don't believe in this guy's worldview either, I just let him be, right? Let him think that. Let him have those opinions. These people, though, think they must be destroyed, right? How dare you have those opinions, you bigot? There's no discussing things with you. You're a bigot. We've labeled you as such, and that's the end of that. And that was, people were like, he signed it. He can deal with the consequences of his, I hate that word, consequences of your speech. Free speech and consequences are oxymorons. They run counter to each other, right? If free speech is free, it wouldn't have consequences. What are these people talking about? Like you're being punished for it. Anyway, these people all start going after him. And another woman's like, he put his own life in danger. He put his life in danger by sharing something he wrote and sent it to a business. So what are you doing? The LGBT people are constantly in danger because of people like this letter writer. I'd like to talk about that for a moment, because people are like taking issue with that. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There is no safer place in the world for a gay person than Massachusetts. Zero. You cannot find a safer place, right? Gay people are not the victims of hate crimes ever around here. They don't even pretend to be. Like there was the fake one in Malden, the Malden Muff Buffer. I remember that one. But they're not. What are you talking about? How are you oppressed? You have every right. You had the right to marry in this state 15 years ago. Right? Gay people, what was it, the Speaker of the House or the Senate President? Stan Rosenberg. Was he the Senate President? Gay. Right? A lot of people around here with power happen to be gay, and that's bold, brave, and beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Right? But let's not act like the gay community is somehow oppressed. They're not. They're doing just fine. Right? They're doing a lot better than any other quote-unquote marginalized group of people, socioeconomically, politically, etc. Things are going good for the gays, and that's bold, brave, and beautiful. So, it's also very trendy, right, to support gay rights, right? It's not like you're not going out on a limb when you support homosexuality, right? Or Fenway freaking Park is flying the rainbow flag right now. That's great. Fantastic. A lot of city halls are doing that. Institutions. The freaking Ducks in Boston, on the Boston Common, they're wearing rainbow freaking kerchiefs. So it's so widely accepted that, for this guy to come out, he knows by posting this, he's 90% of people who read this are going to agree with this, that this guy is bad. So I'm going to create a villain here, and then I'm going to fight the villain, and then I'm going to get people to rally around me. And people are telling me that it's going to be on Channel 7 News. So I'd be interested. I'm going to go watch the news after this. But anyway, it's also going to get media attention too. And they know that. Somehow this is news. Letter gets sent. And I guarantee you the media will not question this. They will just go along because that's what they do, folks. That's what they do. Now, Do I have any way to prove that this is not true? No, I do not. And a lot of people have criticized us for that. Like Turtle Boy, usually they say, oh, with the Greg Bates thing, he had facts, man. They had evidence with that. We did. We had ways to prove Greg Bates was scamming. No doubt about it. With this, we don't have any proof. I'll be the first to admit. We have no proof that this isn't true. But they also have no proof that it is true. And we do have evidence, though. Right? We do have evidence. For instance, there's no Owen Donaldson. People are like, well, just because he's not with the registry of deeds. No, there's no Owen Donaldson in Beverly at all. There is none. It's completely made up. Not on the registered voting lists. Nothing. You telling me a guy like that writes a letter like this wouldn't be a registered voter? Stop it. So there is no Owen Donaldson, right? They spelt Fishbone Harry's wrong in the first sentence, but yet on the envelope they sent, they put Bonefish Harry's. So they got it right. Interesting. Why would they do that? Unless they were trying to make it seem like there was some ignorant blowhard, right, who couldn't even get the name of the restaurant right that they go to all the time. Interesting. One moron actually said this on the Beverly Mass page. They said, well, maybe it auto-corrected. Yeah, moron. That's what happened. Right. He wrote, type in Fishbone on Microsoft Word and tell me if it changes. Oh, no, type in Bonefish on Microsoft Word and tell me if it changes to Fishbone. That's not how autocorrect works, genius. The lengths that these people will go to want to believe this is what's truly remarkable, right? They want to believe it. And they're like, well, maybe it was this. Maybe it was this. Give me a break, right? Maybe he doesn't own property. Maybe he's not a registered voter. Then you got this guy, Kirtland Masarkey, who posts a picture of himself down there. He goes, we wanted to thank Owen for the inspiration to come to Bonefish Harry's tonight. Here we are with the infamous missive. They posed for a freaking picture with it. This is no longer a restaurant. This is now a tourist destination, right? Like, what? It turns out this guy is a director for marketing and development for a nonprofit LGBT organization out of Boston, too. And he would know this is like the ultimate form of marketing. What just happened there, right? And this would, I'm not saying this guy had anything to do with it, but he knows what works and what doesn't work. And yes, I don't even know if I should have included him in this because he really has no ties to it. But my point was that because of his marketing background, a guy like this, right, he knows how this works, right? And he knows that he has also used alleged incidents of things happening to him to raise money, right? He posted right after Trump got elected. He was freaking out. Some people down in, some women, he said, were complaining that their bachelorette party was in P-Town and it's a bunch of F words there. Why? P-Town's got a lot of, dudes on dudes there. So why would, if you're homophobic, why would you want to have your thing there? Interesting. I didn't believe that. He used it to raise money for his LGBT BLT 123 nonprofit. So anyway, I talked to the guy from Bonefish Harry's, and, he goes, good morning. Happy to answer a few questions. Busy morning, but we will try to get back. Oh, he's so busy. So busy because he's a celebrity now. I'm like, when did you receive the letter? Letter came in the mail yesterday. No return address. Okay. Doesn't seem to be an Owen Donaldson, but there's other people with that last name. Have you verified this came from him? And are you at all worried that people that with that surname could potentially be viewed as guilty by association because you sent the name of the letter? He goes, there was no email or phone number on the letter, so we could not reach out to this person. He showed me the letter. That's true. We hope and believe that our community is better than looking for everyone with the same last name and blaming a whole family. If you think the community is better than going on a witch hunt, then you don't know how communities work. There isn't a community in America that doesn't like a good old-fashioned witch hunt, especially with a hot-button political issue like this. And it is postmarked. It was actually sent through the mail. I learned something today that if you live in Beverly and you want to send a letter to someone else in Beverly, it doesn't just go through the Beverly post office. It goes to Boston, where it gets postmarked and then sent back to Beverly. That is the biggest waste of time and money I've ever heard. That's why the price of stamps go up. Yeah, fuck the post office. Anyway, so like I said, Here's the key points to take away from this. There's no evidence that this came from someone with no association of Bonefish. None. Anybody could have sent this, including somebody that works at Bonefish Mary's. We know this is a fact. Here's a fact we know. Bonefish Harry's got a ridiculous amount of free advertising and profited immensely off of this. That's a fact, not opinion. So they did benefit from this, and that should make you wonder. They posted it on the 3rd anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting. That proves nothing. But one of those things that makes you go, interesting. There are likely many, and this is to me is the most important fact to take away from this, is that there's many businesses and institutions in and around Beverly that are displaying the flag for Pride Month. There's a restaurant that Greg Bates went after called Ryle. It's a nicer restaurant in Beverly. They fly the Pride flag all year round. Did they get one? Did they get one? Nope. Did City Hall get one? I don't know if City Hall has one hanging. I don't know how Beverly politics work, but they declared themselves a sanctuary city, which would lead me to believe they're the kind of city that would have no problem flying a pride flag on government institutions. So, did they get any letters? No. Just this one restaurant did. Why? A lot of people are flying. It's Pride Month. It's very popular. Interesting. So, again, do I have any evidence this didn't happen? No. But I do think it's important to point out that we don't know if it happened, man. That's the whole point of this blog, is to, you should question things. What's wrong with questioning things, right? I have no proof that Adam Jones wasn't called the N-word at Fenway Park. But I have a lot of questions about that and things that would make me believe that it's not. And I saw the motivation of it, right? And I saw the reaction for it. And I think it's important that we bring these things up, that everybody does. I'm the guy that asks questions of everything. I question conservatives too. When they virtue signal about, Muslims or whatever, and they rant about that, I think it's important to question them too. I think it's important to question everybody who goes viral on a post and then benefits off it. You should always ask questions about that. So that's my take on it. So anyway, why don't I take some questions? If you guys have any questions or anything like that, see what they're saying. Victoria says, where is Beverly? Beverly is the gateway to the upper North Shore, right? There's two parts of the North Shore. The shitty North Shore and the nice North Shore, right? The shitty North Shore is Lynn, Saugus, Revere, Winthrop, Peabody, Salem. And I guess there's Marblehead's nice in there, and what's the other one there? Swampscott, right? Those are okay. But the rest of them are shitty towns. And then there's Beverly, right? And Beverly is right across the river from Salem, right? And everything above Beverly is wealthy, right? Those are the real, not as many people live up there, and all the towns are nice, right? Gloucester, Rockport, Manchester by the Sea, Essex, Ipswich, Topsfield, Hamilton, Wenham, you name it. Those are the nice towns up there. So that's where Beverly is. Anyway, what else are people saying? Any other questions? Is it just as bad to use the gay community for your own personal gain as it is to slander the gay community? That's a good point. I'd like to point out the owner of this restaurant is not gay, but he's using a gay issue and profiting off of it. That's interesting. How about this? How about the owner of the restaurant says any extra sales we make off of this goes directly towards a BLT 123 organization that's helping teens that have come out of the closet and are kicked out of their home or something like that. How about that? But it's all going in this guy's pocket. Interesting. Lisa says, thanks to Turtle Boy, I now question everything. Well, good. I'm glad that we all do. I didn't question everything before Turtle Boy came around, but now I do. I've learned a lot from doing this as well. I live in Northampton. My child's elementary school flies the pride flag and walks in a parade. Exactly. It's mainstream accepted now. Hardly anyone is opposed to it, especially in Massachusetts. I thought Salem was nice. No, Salem is the most overrated dump in America, or at least in this state. A lot of people think Salem's a nice town. Salem's shitty. It'd be in my top 5 worst places to live in Massachusetts. First of all, it's harder to find a place with worse traffic than Salem. It's fucking terrible. Awful. Like, Winthrop is real bad, right? You gotta go through Revere to get to it. Somerville's terrible. Cambridge is bad. Those are bad for traffic too. But I've never seen, like, Salem, for a place that's not that big, has way too much traffic, and it's got like slums and shit, especially near Salem State. You feel like you're in the freaking hood. Overrated. There's a reason they burn witches there. I support gay pride. As a woman, I have all my ladies back, but as Bristol wrote, I'm embarrassed by how they virtue signal and portray us as weaklings. Did I miss that blog? I think that's a very good point. That sounds like something Bristol would say. What else are people saying? I feel like if you're truly homophobic, the letter wouldn't be so nice about it. Yeah, that's true too. I mean, there's people who are homophobic, right? Well, at least if you're going to be anonymous, Lisa, right? Because that letter was very respectfully worded. Like, it wasn't, I don't agree with it, but it wasn't like rude, and it didn't use like slurs against gays or anything like that. I feel like somebody who wrote a letter like that wouldn't mind putting their name to it, especially because they assumed it would be private. That's interesting too. Gloucester's not so nice. Yeah, Gloucester's not the greatest place in the world, but it's nicer than Lynn. So, Gloucester's awful? You guys think Gloucester's awful? I don't know. I don't think Gloucester's that bad. That also has too much traffic downtown. Terrible, terrible traffic place. Generally, anything beginning with an L is a place I like to avoid. Then don't go on Route 2. Everything begins with an L. Leominster, Lunenburg, Lancaster, Lincoln, Lexington. They all begin with L. What else is there? It was like an SJW wrote it. Yeah. I moved out of Mass almost 20 years ago. Best move ever. Travel. He's the troll. I'm not even paying attention to him. Inside job. Bristol didn't write that. My take. Oh, thank you. Ludlow's a dump too. Ludlow's not that bad. Stop it. Come to Lawrence. Lawrence is a dump. Lawrence is the worst city in Massachusetts. You know what I wanted to do? It would take a long time to research this. Like a top 50 or top 100 biggest dumps in New England. But that would require like doing research on Maine and traveling to Maine. That seems like a lot of work, man. At least you won't have to go to Vermont. Nothing in Vermont would make the top biggest dumps. But I'd have to go to a lot of parts of Connecticut too. I've done the biggest dumps in Massachusetts, and I need to redo that. And I've also done the biggest dumps in Rhode Island, and I stand by that one. But I've been meaning to do Connecticut and New Hampshire for a while. But if I had to say off the top of my head, biggest dumps in the state, in New England, the first two that come to mind are Lawrence and Central Falls, Rhode Island. Central Falls, Rhode Island is fucking hell on earth. But I've never seen anything as bad in my life. Anything as bad as Camden, New Jersey. When I went to the DNC in 2016, I stayed right next to Camden, and you have to go through Camden to get to Philadelphia. I've never seen anything like Camden. It's like all the best episodes of The Wire in one neighborhood, right? Go to Camden sometime. I should do a blog. I took a bunch of pictures. I should do a blog on it. I mean, it's fucking terrible. I heard Bridgeport, Connecticut's awful. Maybe I'll go down there and do one on Connecticut soon. Anyway, Lewiston's a dump. That's where Brett's up in. Let's see. Long Meadow's nice. Yeah, I think there's like 19 cities that begin with L. A lot of them are very nice, actually. You'd be surprised. Leverett. A lot of hippies in Leverett. Let's see what any other questions you guys have? Come to the flats of Holyoke. I've been to Holyoke a bunch of times. They were number 3 on my list when I first did it, on the biggest dumps in Massachusetts. All right. Any other questions I'm reading here? I worked in Bridgeport and it sucked. I believe it. When I was deciding on a high school, 2 schools were about to lose their accreditation, Lawrence and Beverly. Yeah, but accreditation, as a teacher, I'll tell you one thing. Nothing means less than accreditation. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Accreditation is like, I could do a whole freaking book on this, is the biggest scam going out there. There's one organization, NEASC, the New England Education Association, something, right? They have a monopoly on school accreditation. And we had so many meetings where it's like, well, we got to do this for NEASC. We got to like make a fucking chart for NEASC. NEASC wants to see a chart. What is it? This is a waste of time. What are we doing? This doesn't help kids learn. Why are we wasting time on this? Well, we have to do it because we have to be accredited. If we're not accredited, then people don't want to move to our town and property values go down and then the school loses money. So don't let that fool you for a second. If your school is not accredited, it means absolutely fucking nothing. All that means is they haven't paid off NEASC yet. It's the biggest scam that has ever existed. So anyway, that's actually, thank you for bringing it up. I should do a blog on NEASC. Now I'm really motivated, actually. California is so much better than the Northeast. We have better culture, sports. What? Lifestyle. Our people are just better people. Most won't admit it. First of all, I can't tell if he's trolling or not, but I'm just going to play along. California is the worst state to live in the country, right? You'll never find a more expensive place than that. You'll never find a place with more traffic than that. It's one of the only places where you can find people that are worse than the people in Massachusetts, right? You're paying so much out of your paycheck for illegal immigrants there because there's no fucking wall, right? And it's just flooded with it, and it's a sanctuary state. It's goddamn terrible. The sports teams are great. The fuck you talking about? What sports teams? You mean that football team that we beat in the Super Bowl? Yeah, they're fucking awesome, right? Or that basketball team that we have more titles than? Or that other basketball team that's never won a title? Or the other basketball team up north, Real Fire Northern the Capitals never won. Yeah, you got Golden State. That's coming to an end, right? Your sports teams are the best. Yeah, how the Shaqs doing? How the Shaqs, right? How the San Francisco Giants this year? How the Padres been? Huh? How about that? How about the Dodgers in the last two World Series? How'd they do? California. Anyway, yes, Fat Rob, it is extortion. It is legalized, organized extortion. The state made them build new schools. Exactly. Somebody's getting paid off there. Anyway, any other things you guys want to ask? You want to hurt me? Go right ahead. If it makes you feel better, I'm an easy target. Yeah, you're right. I talk too much. I listen too much. I could be a cold-hearted cynic like you, but I don't like to hurt people's feelings. Oh, well, aren't you a very good person? I think that's fantastic. Well, you think what you want about me, I'm not changing. I don't think much about you because I don't know who you are, and I could care less. To me, you're just words on the internet, and that's great. I don't have anything against you personally, but if you think California is the best state to live in because they have superior culture, you're fucked in the head. There's no way around that. Yeah, enjoy your earthquakes. Remember last time we had an earthquake in Massachusetts? Oh, yeah, never. Remember last time we had a problem with wildfires in Massachusetts? Oh, yeah, never. So Massachusetts ain't perfect. The worst we got is fucking nor'easters. That's what we got to deal with, nor'easters. The fucking plow hits my mailbox, and I got to pay $40 to get it fixed. What else are people saying? Stoughton's turning into new Mattapan. I haven't been to Stoughton in a while. A school is forced to follow federal guidelines to take federal funding. You know, almost all of your school's funding comes from state and local taxes, right? Like almost nothing comes from the federal government. Almost nothing. No more Go Bruins. I know, it sucks. Lawsuit updates. Go back and listen to the beginning when the show's over. You can hear some of those. Anything else here people are saying? After living in Texas, I keep hearing Lincoln frees the slaves to have more troops in the war. Is that true? Or is it just Southerners being Southerners? Not to be in the war necessarily. However, when Lincoln freed the slaves in 1863 on January 1st with the Emancipation Proclamation, there was a political aspect to that, right? He wanted them to flee, right? He wanted them to not be of usage to the Southern war cause. You know what I mean? And he wanted them to feel emboldened to be able to leave. So there is an aspect, but it certainly wasn't to be like to fight in a war. That's not why Lincoln freed the slaves. He didn't make them fight in a war. If you ever seen Glory, like they didn't want black people on the front lines. Like black people in the 1800s for white people were a caricature. There's a reason blackface was a thing. Like black people were a joke to white people back then, right? It's not good, but that's the way they saw it. So the idea of black people being trusted on the front lines to protect the United States of America was unheard of. And that's what the movie Glory is ultimately all about. Like Morgan Freeman's platoon there and Denzel's platoon, like they want Matthew Broderick. Notice they have to have a white commander, right? They wanted to be on the front lines and they weren't allowed to. But eventually they do in the end and they die. But anyway, what else are people saying? Kyrie to the Nets? Probably. That or the Knicks. If he goes to the Nets, what are they thinking, man? What are they thinking? They have freaking D'Angelo Russell, who's like turning into a nice little player. They just traded for him. They play the same position. And you know what D'Angelo Russell doesn't do? Bitch and moan. You know what he does do? Right? He tells your girlfriend that you cheated on him. That's the worst thing D'Angelo Russell's going to do. On Snapface. But he's not going to do what Kyrie Irving did this year. They're fucking insane if they take him. I would love to see him go to the Nets. I love it. If he goes to the Nets and we replace him with Kemba Walker, of course we're going to be better than the Nets. Stop it. Stop it. I hope he goes to the Nets. That'd be hilarious. Are you going to straight parade? No, because it's fucking stupid, this straight pride parade. It's just a troll job. You know that, right? John Hugo that's running it. He's just trolling them. The name of the group is like the Super Terrific Happy Hour or something like that. It's a joke, obviously. And Milo is a gay man. And he's the freaking speaker. So there you go. So no, I will not be going to the straight pride parade. The fact that I like chicks, I'm not really proud of that. It's just the way I was born. How does one not read Turtle Boy or your book without reading it in your voice? I'm not sure. Has everyone watched Bristol's video? What video? Did I miss it? I missed it. My coworker is in St. Louis who's polite about the window man. I know, they're nice people out there, huh? Do you know anything about the AG investigation of the Museum of Fine Arts case? I know it's a gigantic waste of time and resources and the most ridiculous thing because it all started with one chick's Facebook post. That is Massachusetts right there. What a fucking joke. What pandering nonsense. Would you like to see more Hondurans and Guatemalans in your state? I don't care if they're good people and they work hard. I don't give a shit. I know, I got to bring back the history podcast, man. You guys really got me going there. I wonder if anyone would listen. I have a black dog named Lincoln. Does that mean I'm racist? Probably. Thank you, Thomas, for the kind words there. I saw those. Appreciate that. I love to see why Liberia failed, blah, blah, blah. I can't really get into that right now. Any word on the handicap driver? No, I haven't checked the inbox yet. I'm very interested to see if we find out who that was, though. Very interested. Anyway, why don't we, anything else? I did not see her I'm sorry video. When did she post that? I gotta I gotta go see that. She didn't tell me. Okay. Do I want a white minority in Massachusetts? I don't give a shit. The fuck do I care if I'm a minority or not? Why would anybody be afraid of being a minority? And what's bad about being a minority, right? Like what you're saying with that is that like black what I'm not even gonna get into that. That's fucking stupid. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a night, guys, because I gotta wrap it up. And we will talk to you guys